Right when we first started off, Charlie and Duke both had an idea of taking the realistic looking route. And doing that route, it became a style of its own because of the look of the film. And no matter how much you try to reach reality, you're not quite there, especially on a smaller scale. You're only replicating reality. Scale is really important. With our scale, since it was a 11-inch figure, we had to build a world that would fit him on that scale. And if the figure were to be any bigger, the stages and the sets would be much bigger. So we knew we had limitations working in this building, and our shooting space was only so big. So we had to make sure everything that we built would eventually have to fit on these stages. So scale was real important. Any smaller would be very hard for the animators. Any bigger, it would be really hard for um, our camera department and for lighting, and also the set department to build and space. Glassware was one of the trickiest things for our project because on any miniature production, like any small scale type build, glassware is hard. Like there's not a lot of glass blowers out there that does really miniature small glasses. So uh, we had to manufacture that too. So one of our builders used plastic clear strips of styrene. They call it just clear plastic basically. And we used a vacuum form machine, and we suctioned a shape to be the martini glass, for instance, right? So it was a cone that we vacuum formed the shape. We cut that cone out and glued a clear plastic rod stem and made a disc. And there was three components to make a small martini glass. So same thing with the glassware. I remembered having to find a way to like make that glassware, like the tumblers that Michael's using. Those were actually stems of plastic champagne glasses that we shaved down to be the right scale for Michael holding the glass. So there's a lot of things we had to find, and a lot of things that we had to like go out and search for to like make it work because it doesn't exist in our world. The taxi cab was one of our first shots, and that was really fascinating and interesting to see it unfold because uh, we weren't quite sure how to approach the taxi cab interior as Michael's driving away with the taxi cab driver. So we did a couple of tests, and what we ended up doing was just creating some lights with the rigs on it and having the animator animate those lights past the taxi cab exterior. So none of those were actually cars that we built. They were just lights on little rods and things that we had the animator animate through. So the animator doesn't only animate characters, but props and everything that they interact with as well. Water is another tricky thing for a stop motion production. It's a With stop motion, it's frame by frame animation, so there's no way of really controlling water. So it's either a post thing or we create the effect of water. So, for instance, the exterior of the cab or interior of the cab and the city streets. When you see Michael walking down the city street, all that water is actually like a resin-based material that we painted on the street to give it that reflective glow when the lights would shine on it. So it was really cool because it created more depth in our sets with the textures of paint. It added on that shine, really added on an extra layer of depth. When we first approached this project, right, it was very daunting because the studio has never done a stop motion feature to this level. We've only worked on different productions like commercials and smaller series, but nothing on this level. So, upon getting this project here, we're all nervous about how we're going to execute it. But when we were able to complete the film and see the result that we see on screen, it was a huge accomplishment, and I'm very proud of this team and everybody that helped out with this, and all the supporters with Kickstarter. I mean, like it was a Kickstarter project. For us to get the recognition and the accomplishment film that we have now is just it's a huge gratifying feeling. It was a great feeling.